I am coming to you from my home studio. Um, this is actually like the sixth time that I've tried to film this video. I have been trying to film on different islands, and I kind of wanted to make that like a thing. Like, oh, I think that'd be so cool to take you guys on some different adventures. And I do plan to do that in the future, but for some reason it just wasn't working out. And I think I kind of understand what God was teaching me and having to film this so many times. So I'll get a little bit more into that throughout the video. But this is the second time today that I've tried to film it, because the last time I tried to film it, I got a Charlie horse in my leg. So I had to stop. And it's just interesting. But I have to talk about this. I'm so excited to talk about this. What God's doing in my life, and I am adamant. I don't care how many times it takes. I'm gonna get this video out there. At the same time, it's so important for me to do this right and to be in a place where I am completely filled with the Spirit. This isn't about me. This is about what I feel like God can do through me. So, I might actually do a blooper reel. I don't know if you guys would be interested in that, but my experiences yesterday at this island were pretty hilarious. At one point, I thought I saw a shark and it was a duck. I tried to film on this island, and it was right around sunset, and it was beautiful. It was so beautiful. The sunset was gorgeous, and the island was just amazing. But being there by yourself when it's starting to get a little bit dark is actually not ideal. Turns out it feels a little Blair Witchy. So yeah, so we're gonna do this today. First, I want to say thank you very much for your comments and your support in the last video. I really appreciate it, and I fully anticipated that I would get negative feedback because of the topic. It's a tough topic for some people, and honestly, for the most part, I've gotten nothing but kind words and encouragement, so I really appreciate that. Anything that you might have any questions about, if you want me to elaborate, if something I'm saying is not making sense, if I can point you in the right direction, please feel free to question what I'm saying and to ask me anything that you want to ask me. So some of the things that God has been doing in my life. It's been a really beautiful time and a freeing time and convicting, and I feel like God has shown me a lot of things that I need to change in my life to have a closer relationship with Him. Maybe some things that were blocking that. One being my relationship with social media, what I was putting in His place. Time that I was spending on looking for likes and comments and approval from other people, when that wasn't something that was fulfilling me at all. Maybe for a moment, but it's just a tank that will never be filled. And I actually ended up deleting my Facebook. I still have my Instagram account because it's kind of more for photography. But it was kind of hard to do that, actually. I live far away from my family, and that's kind of like a connection that I have with them. But the time that I was spending on Facebook, and I just felt like, for me right now, it's it's like mind numbing, you know? Not everybody uses it that way. It could be used for good. It could be a tool to share the gospel and to lift people up. But I felt that I needed to release that and let that go for now. It sounds so ridiculous to talk about something like Facebook in such a serious way, but it's just the day and age that we live in, that social media is a big deal and it's a huge part of our lives. When I deleted my Facebook, I also started looking at my own actions. Like, what am I doing right now taking a selfie? I mean, what am I doing posting this? And then receiving likes and approval. Why do I need to be checking my phone constantly, Snapchatting these silly things? It just really convicted me and made me realize that there's so many things in my life that I'm trying to fill the void with. Not just social media, even something like surfing. Surfing is my favorite thing to do. It brings me so much joy. I'm not going to stop surfing, but I have to put things in its place. Surfing is not going to fulfill me completely, ever. It definitely gives you that high, and it's an amazing, wonderful, healthy thing to do. But if I feel a void and I go to, whether it be a hobby or food or getting approval on social media or from somebody that you're in a relationship with, it is just an endless cycle of void, of trying to fill that void. And when I released some things, and in those moments where I was feeling that void, which I think that it is so normal for us to feel that in this life, because I don't believe that this is our home. It's natural, I think, for us to feel a longing, feel an emptiness, because we are, in a way, we're not as close to God as we will be after this life, obviously. The veil is over us, and it's a constant battle. But when I reached out to God in those moments, it just filled that void in seconds. Where something like meditating, I used to meditate, and I would meditate for, maybe 20 minutes to even an hour sometimes. It would have taken so many hours to get half of the joy and peace that I can receive in a few seconds, just reaching out to God and asking Him to fill me, and just loving God and praising Him. So that is something that I am really, really, really grateful for. I'm so grateful for. That's a huge difference in my life, and if that was the only thing that God could come in and do, and the only adjustment that He could make, then it would be worth everything. But He has so many things that He wants to do in my life. It's endless, and in the short amount of time that I've allowed Him to, it's been incredible. Did I stop having bad experiences? No. There's still been rough days and rough experiences. Since the last video, I tried to sell a gym to make a little bit of extra money and to make a little extra space in my house, and I ended up getting scammed really bad. I had an experience that day that I'm I debated talking about this because I know it's just going to sound a little bit out there, but I'm all in. I, I'm already putting myself out there by talking about this, and if this experience makes me sound a little bit crazy, but it touches your heart and speaks to you, and God is able to move you in some way, then it's worth you thinking that I'm a little nutty for God to come through. So I'm going to get to that at the end of this video, but let me tell you the difference on those days that I was having issues, having stress, anxiety, things not going my way. Before, I just felt such a sense of disappointment, and that I was just so unlucky, and it was just such a lonely feeling. And the difference that I have seen, the changes in those situations, is I don't have to sit with that feeling and deal with it on my own. I have a friend there who I can give that disappointment to, I can give that stress to, I can give that anxiety to, and ask him to take it from me, and I feel a peace come over me. And where before my circumstances probably, they were just escalating, I see those situations turning out for good, and I can see how God is using them. I got asked about my health, which I appreciate anybody caring about what's going on with my health and how that's going. I didn't really mention this in the last video, but in the last video, I was on a 30-day raw fast. I was eating raw foods for 30 days, and for maybe 25 of those, I was having no issues. I started the fast just to segregate certain foods out and be able to introduce them back in and see what kind of things were bothering my stomach. And then I turned that fast into a spiritual fast where I was sacrificing these things to get closer to God, and it made it more about my connection with Him and my relationship with Him, and it made it a lot easier to not eat certain foods. On maybe that 25th or 26th day, I started having issues again, but I think the reason why is because I broke the fast a little bit and had some cinnamon icebreakers gum. And I had like half of it comes in these little tubs. I kind of have an obsession with gum, and I ate like half the tub of gum that day, and I started having issues. So that was maybe a couple days that I was struggling a little bit. And in the past, when I would be doing really good with my health and not having a lot of problems, trying to conjure up all the healing light energy and manifesting health, I would be so disappointed and just devastated sometimes and depressed. When I would start getting sick again, I just didn't understand, and it was so upsetting. And this time, instead of feeling that disappointment and devastation, I certainly wasn't happy about it, but I had this sense of peace that I knew God was healing me, even though I was having these symptoms. I knew that He was still working in me, and I got down on my knees and I just thanked God. And I just haven't really had to think about it. I got better. I've been better. At the end of my fast, I ate cake and pizza and I was fine. So that's where I'm at. I'm still having symptoms every once in a while, even though it's been probably a couple weeks since I've had any. But I have a peace in going through this challenge that I didn't have before. And I don't think about it every day, and I'm not stressed out about it. I'm not worried about it. I just know that God is working, and I'm looking for what He's trying to teach me in dealing with this instead of complaining about it. I'm just not really talking about it a lot, and I'm not going to complain about it and conjure up that negative stuff. So that's where I'm at with that. So I also feel like it's important to, as I make these videos, I just want you to know that I am coming from a place as a student of the Bible, as a student of Jesus Christ. I have so much to learn and a whole lifetime to learn it, and I just want you to know that anything that I say that might resonate with you, I really encourage you to pray about it and to come to your own conclusions, and just know that I'm coming from a place of still learning, and I'm coming from a place of just being your friend and a student myself. Lastly, I'm going to tell you about a really incredible experience that I've had this last couple weeks that's been probably the most moving experiences most moving experience I've ever had. So the day that I got scammed by these people, it was for a lot of money, and I also had a disagreement with somebody that I love that day, and I was just really stressed out, and I was very upset by it. And I came home, and I just got on my knees, and I prayed to God for Him to guide me in the right direction. And I just felt like I just wanted to praise Him and just tell Him that I loved Him. And instead of asking Him for anything, I just put my hands up in praise, kind of like you do at church. And I had both hands up, and I was just saying, Lord, I love you. Jesus, I love you, and I thank you. And my hands got really warm, very, very warm, almost hot. And they moved down to my sides and then lifted up and came together, palms together, as if somebody was to put something in your hands. And I know that this is going to sound really crazy, but I did not move my hands. They moved pretty quickly, and my whole body was just hot. And when they moved together, I felt so close to Jesus Christ. I just felt like He was just sitting there in front of me. And my phone rang, and it was the person that I had an argument with, and that situation was resolved right there. The scamming situation was resolved the next day. that was before my fast was over. The day that I started getting sick again, I prayed again and had my hands just up in worship. And again, my hands got really hot. Not really hot. They got really warm, but borderline hot. It's a very different feeling for me. I felt that Jesus was there so close to me, closer than I had ever felt, and it was really overwhelming. It's happened again maybe twice. It's just been a really amazing experience for me. So I'm willing to risk sounding like a crazy person, if it means that by me sharing this with you, you feel the Spirit and that you are moved by this, is 100% worth it to me. So that is where I'm at, and yeah, thank you for watching.